From the case overview, it's very simple to start creating a will. So you would go to the questionnaire section on the left hand side. So once you've created your client, all the options available to you for that client are on the left hand side of the system. So we would pick questionnaires, and our choices are as follows: last will and testament questionnaire, financial LPA, health and welfare LPA, form LPA 120, we can complete that, and we can also create the SEV form and the mutual notice for severance of tenancy. So we're going to start with a will, this one here at the top, and I'm going to click create. First thing I've got to do when I'm starting a will is to specify the testator. So I've created the client record with 2 people in it, and now I'm telling the system, right, for the purpose of this questionnaire, who is the testator? I click add testator, select from existing, and choose selected. I'm in there now as the testator. At any point in this questionnaire, I have 4 options. I can go to the next page by clicking next. I can click save, but bear in mind there isn't actually any need to click save, as every single input is saved along the way. Also there's finish, which is complete and submit effectively, so we won't be doing that just yet. But there's also this preview button here. So when you preview a document, it opens a new tab, and you can see the document you're creating as you go along. Okay. Obviously there's not much there. All I've told it so far is that I want to do a will for this client, so you won't see much there, but as we go along I can refresh that document, and we can see the changes that we make. So we're going to click next, and you can see down the left hand side all of the sections that we can complete and add things to. Okay, so for the purposes of this questionnaire, I'm going to say that I'm married, and you can see that this question's popped up. Who's my partner? I'm going to add them. Select from existing. So this, whenever you select this option, select from existing, you're greeted with a list of every individual that you have so far put into the system. Okay, for this client record. So far I've got these 2 people. So let's select Natasha, and she is now in the system. And the next question: does this will form part of a mirror will? If we click yes, 2 things have changed in the background. Blink and you'll miss it. There is now a question at the end of the questionnaire to say, do you want to create the mirror will now? So that's now there. And also, every time we add somebody to the system, to the questionnaire from here, every executor, every guardian, every beneficiary, every trustee, at the end of the data entry area, it will ask us, what is the relationship of this person to Sam, testator 1, and what is the relationship of this person to testator 2? So that when we do come to mirror the will by clicking just one button, the system already knows the relationships between the people in the will and the testators. So very little to do after the first round of data entry. So I'm just going to click next and pop to foreign assets section. Does the testator have any property or assets abroad? If we answer yes, we can go through a couple of questions and get to the EU succession directive, where we can elect for the law of succession from England and Wales to apply to property we hold in subscribing countries of the EU. That's very simple, and we can also on this page select where the will is to apply, with the default being only in England and Wales. Okay, so let's just pop a no in there and a yes in there, keep things simple. Do I want to specify any funeral arrangements? Clicking yes brings up a couple more questions. So the standard options of buried, cremated, or of course no preference, plus a free text area for other requirements. So there's a few sections like this in the questionnaire where the words in blue, when clicked, will pre-populate the free text field. Okay, so as we go along, based on feedback from Alan, myself, John, and any advisor, any will writer in the team at all, if you have some ideas that you know something you would like to be in these blue sections, because there's a few of these throughout the questionnaire, let us know, and we can look into those for you. But you just click on it and the words go in, and of course you can amend what's there or type over it however you want to. Okay, so just to show that. So let's go with cremated for me and no other requirements. Then just pressing next. At this point I will just quickly preview the document. So we press preview, the same tab just refreshes, and now we can see I am building up my will. So clause 4 there, funeral arrangements. I wish my body to be cremated. Back to the questionnaire. This section is for guardians, so you can appoint any combination of guardians. You could have primary guardians, reserve or substitute guardians. You can have different guardians for different children that you have parental responsibility for. Very simple entry area. So what I'll do is I'll just show you how to enter a guardian, which is here. Who are the guardians? Let's add one. So this will be the same screen you'll see when you're adding anyone, any individual person to the will. You're effectively creating a mini database for each client record. So if someone's already there, we can select them from existing. If not, we have to add them. And this screen will be the same when you add an executor, a beneficiary, or a guardian or trustee. Okay, so we will just very simply type this person in. So if we just make someone up for this, we'll put in minimal details just for this at the moment. We can add their address, and if we put a postcode in, as we know, you can quickly select the address from the postcode, add that to the address book, and then relationship. So who is this person to Sam? Who is this person to Natasha? Who is it to testator 1, testator 2? So we could have something like this: brother for Sam and brother-in-law for Natasha. So one item of feedback from the early training sessions has been that people might prefer a drop-down list of all of the relationships, so that you can just click, and that's something we can definitely look at bringing in. Okay, so this section, this button here, add to address book, this now applies to adding this person, John Smith, to the address book for the client record. Okay, so now I've chosen John Smith, and I've put him in, he's the guardian. So like I said, that applies to everywhere that you're adding an individual person. Guardian, trustee, executor, beneficiary, add them in the same way. Okay? So very, very simple. Just scroll to the next page. This is trustees and executors. Slightly different from what we've just seen. The first question says, shall your spouse or partner act as the sole trustee or executor? So the sole primary trustee or executor. So that's something that a lot of people do choose. So having that as a easy question at the start can save you a bit of time there. So if we were to say yes, then immediately we're looking at appointing substitutes or reserve or secondary executors, and we would add those using this button here in the very same way as we've just added a guardian previously. If I wanted spouse and son, for example, to both be primary executors, I would say no to this first question and add the spouse here. So I'd add and select from existing. So Natasha, yeah. And I would also add a son here, and then I would be able to have them both in this section. Okay, then I could add substitutes. I can also appoint a professional, and if you do appoint a professional executor, you'll see that King's Court's details are already there as our preferred option. Okay, scrolling down. Business interest page. This allows you to select different executors for business if that's required, and also to look at creating a BPR trust at this point. So let's say no for that one. Would you like to make organs available for donation, scientific purposes? No, yes, yes but only, or yes, all organs except. Very simple. So let's say yes, all organs, medical and scientific research. And let's just see what that puts into our document. Organ donation. I wish my body and all of my organs to be available for anatomical examination, medical research, or scientific research purposes. Very simple. So a couple of clicks and we've got a nice simple clause in there. So next again, this is the first time we are dealing with a gift, okay? So all gifts are input in exactly the same way. The first step is to specify the gift and the conditions associated with it. So for example, with money, we'd be saying what's the amount, is it linked to RPI, what's the inheritance tax position, and is it a first or second death gift? With specific gifts, it's almost exactly the same, except for that you are specifying who should pay the transport costs. And with gifts of property, exactly the same. You are specifying the gift to start with. The second part, so it's two parts, specify the gift. Second part is specify who the gift is going to. So I'm going to show you this in money gifts, but the same rules apply for any other type of gift you might create in the system. So if we say yes, we can now add a money gift. Decide if it's on first or second death. Specify the IHT position and specify the sum. Now these blue examples will change, and they will show you exactly how we would like you to denote these legacies. And I'll just type an example here. Done. So we would like the monetary amount and the amount in words, and the reason behind this is so that no one can tamper with the document and easily change the amount. So for example, if we only had the 1,000 in there, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that somebody with the inclination could add another 1 to the document without it being noticed, and of course increase their legacy. So writing the amount in numbers and in words takes away that opportunity there and secures it. You can then select whether the gift is linked to RPI, and then you have gift conditions. So more examples will follow here, but for now you might want to click one of these options and have it fill in the conditions here. So what we've done so far is specify the gift, specify the terms and conditions and the amount of the gift. Okay, now we need to add what's called a gift distribution. So where is it being distributed? Who is the beneficiary effectively? Okay, our options are named group, person or people, organisation or charity, charitable trust, divide into further shares, discretionary trust, life interest trust, or vulnerable beneficiary trust. So we'll just have a look at these options and what they mean for you. A named group is very simple. The examples here are my children or my siblings, and we can scroll down and we can say, right, what age can this group of people inherit? Either the age of majority, in which case leave blank, or a specified age. Would you like this 1,000 shared between my children? That's the top option. Or do you want to give £1,000 to each of my children? That's the second option. Okay, so let's say the top one. And then wherever you see this word fallback, that's where we might have seen reserve or substitute before. You're basically saying where should this gift go? What should happen if the above distribution can't happen? Okay, so let's say yes to that. Specify a fallback. The top one is our favorite, per stirpes. The middle one allows you to select another individual or entity, and the bottom one allows you to specify more than one individual or entity. So we'll click per stirpes for now, and then we're prompted to select an age at which these children should receive their gift. So let's select that, update that. So we've updated the gift distribution. Now we're going to update the gift. And what I like about this is that it's very clear just to run through and check you've done exactly what was instructed. So all of your inputs are condensed and summarized into a simple table, so you can very quickly check, is this right or wrong? If we did find an error here, we could simply click on the edit tool and be taken back to the previous screen where we can change any of our inputs. If we realize that this is completely wrong, we could close that down. And of course you can add another gift on this same section. Okay, so let's save that for now. Specific gifts, exactly the same as before. Specify terms, conditions of the gift, and then add the distribution, the beneficiaries. Property gifts, not in trust, exactly the same as previous. Specify the terms and conditions of the gift, including the property address, and then specify the distribution or beneficiaries. The next page, this is a special section that allows us to do a property protective trust. What we'll do for the purposes of this video is skip this, but there will be a separate video showing you the ins and outs of this section on its own. Next is the personal chattels. So how do we distribute these? First question, should they go to the spouse, yes or no? If you select yes, then there's just a couple more bits to look at. But if you select no, we can have them distributed by the executors, and we can generate a memorandum of wish to accompany the will. The next section is exclusions. Okay, so is Sam deliberately excluding any person from his will who may claim against the estate? Yes or no. If you click yes, you enter and add the excluded person. And of course, you should help the client to write a memorandum or letter of wish explaining why. So I'm just going to take that out. And we're going to go next. Are there any provisions to be made for pets? So we can gift our pets owned at the date of death to a lucky individual, or we can ask for the RSPCA's Home for Life scheme to step in where possible. And it actually gives you a little link to apply online there. Also, you can leave a gift of money with any pets, very simply. So you would then have to specify the amount and who that's going to. So there's a couple of administrative provisions here that we can choose, and what I'll do is I'll select them, and then I'll just show you how they look in the document. So we are looking at a receipt by minors clause, a charities clause, and also the hotspot clause. So you can have these in the will at your request by clicking yes or no. So those show there. Something that's being updated is the step provisions. The current options are the standard step provisions, or the standard and special, or no provisions. And what will be in the system very shortly is the option to select the individual extensions of trustee powers, which I know a lot of our will drafters prefer to use. They are being drafted by WillSuite's solicitor, making sure that they meet his standards, and then they will be available as a drop down in here. Okay. In the meantime, for people that need to use those provisions, there's a separate video to show you how to copy those into the will. So we will move on from there. And then we've got the residue to distribute. Okay, so what I'm going to do at this point is leave that question just so I can show you how the system can detect errors that have been made. Okay, so I'm leaving that residue question there. Something that's really important is to have an area to record notes about the client with regard to testamentary capacity. Okay, so this last section doesn't appear in the will, but gives you every chance to answer questions and make notes by clicking on the notes icon here and typing in the box here to record against the client record. Okay, so scrolling down there, the final thing to do, and this is optional, it doesn't effectively mean anything, but just put your signature and sort of stamp of approval on the questions that you've answered to save it. So if I'm happy that I've finished my questionnaire, and remember I can move to any section at any point just by navigating on the left hand side. If I'm happy that I've finished my document, I'm going to click finish, and because of my deliberate error, we are going to see the system has picked up that I have not finished distributing the residue. Okay, so if I click that link, I will go straight back to the relevant section, and I'll be able to finish the will with no issues.